Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412. Hope you're all having a phenomenal week here. Yeah, nice slate, 12 games, not a single pitcher above 10K, which is pretty insane on a slate this size. But there are a handful of solid options that you could turn to here tonight. So always pay attention to the weather. It looks like the East Coast is going to be fighting some rain once again, but we'll see. Things can dry out as the day goes on, whether, predictions change. We all know that by now. All right, so here we go. Abbott, Gallen, Castillo, Brown, Rodon. He's back. And Burns. Those are your 6 guys who are above 9K. I don't have a whole lot of interest in Burns, especially going up against Cincinnati. Burns of old is just not there anymore. The strikeout rates are way down this season. He's had a couple of, real dud games. And, going up against Cincinnati, this is one of the most exciting offenses in baseball at the moment right now, and it's just tough to play any pitcher going up against them. Rodon, he's back from the IL, coming off the 60-day IL. He only pitched 58 pitches in his rehab start, so I would assume maybe he's only going to get like 70 pitches. Maybe he goes up even a little bit more than that, but at 9.1K, you're telling me the pitcher's only going to be getting, 70 pitches. It's tough to get a whole lot of excitement and a whole lot of interest in that. Brown, he's actually going to be my favorite guy on the slate here tonight in like the upper tier. Right ahead of Abbott. Abbott's number 2, but we'll get to there. But Brown's going to be number 1, 9.2 price tag, so very, very affordable. He's mowed down. He's gotten some high strikeout games so far this season against some low strikeout teams. He's gotten 7 against the Dodgers recently. He's gotten 7 against the Mets recently. Now he's going up against Seattle. Seattle is a top 2 team in terms of strikeout rate against right-handed pitching across the entire season. They strike out a bunch. This is a dream matchup for Brown, so I do think that he is going to be my SP1 in this top tier. Abbott just talked about how he's going to be my second favorite going up against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's another team that can strike out quite a bit. And Abbott, he provides us with that fantastic floor. If you want to make the argument that Abbott is ahead of Brown, I would certainly listen to that. And maybe even by the time lock comes around, I've changed my mind and I put Abbott ahead of Abbott ahead of Brown. But these two are number 1 and number 2, in my opinion. You can see what Abbott's done recently. And I just love the floor that he has going up against the Milwaukee squad that actually Vegas has favored in this matchup. So maybe, I never claim to know more than Vegas does. So they still think that Milwaukee's the better team here in the better spot tonight. So we'll see. But I do think that Abbott and Brown are going to be your 1-2. Who are the other guys up here? Gallen, Castillo, fine option. But going up against Houston, they've hit the ball a lot better here lately. So, yeah, you could go here. I just worry about the home run issue that Castillo has had as of late. Yes, he can generate a lot of strikeouts, but Houston doesn't strike out a whole lot as a team. Hang on one second. Turning down the baby monitor there. Castillo, where was he going at? Oh, yeah. Houston, they got some power in their bats, and, they just have a lot of right-handed bats in their lineup. So, Castillo, a right-handed pitcher, maybe you could make the case in that regard, where you think that you do want to be playing him tonight, but still. I have him ranked a little bit lower down on the list. I'd much rather have Gallen at 9.6K going up against Pittsburgh. So here's where the sheet was standing out in terms of the high tier. Brown, Abbott, 1-2. You can kind of reverse them. Gallen, I think, is a clear 3, followed by Castillo. Burns, don't have any interest in Rodon. Going into the mid-tier, Cease, Montgomery, and then I think like a gap. Cease and Montgomery are actually facing off against each other in the Chicago White Sox against St. Louis matchup. Cease facing off against St. Louis. Like I said, St. Louis we just never know what we're going to get from St. Louis kind of as the games go on and the season goes on. They've had, super high games where their offense is clicking, and then they've had stretches where they just want to look like one of the worst offenses in baseball. Cease has really, he turned it around. He's come back. His salary is starting to kick back up again. He had a really rough stretch here about a month or so ago, but he's finally turned around. He's back to what we kind of remember. Easier matchup against Oakland. Last time out, really struggled, but I'm just kind of throwing that away. Not too worried about that. He showed that he's able to shut down the Angels and Texas and the Dodgers and a Miami team who's honestly doing very well this season. We can't knock that. And the strikeout rate is back. So Dylan Cease is going to be my number one guy in this mid-tier, followed by the guy on the other side, Montgomery. The White Sox shouldn't be scaring you as an offense either. And Montgomery has thrown a phenomenal floor games, game after game after game. So going up against the White Sox, I think that floor game should continue. And it's kind of like Brown and Abbott. If you want to flip around Cease and Montgomery, I would totally understand that. And maybe by closer to lock, I want the extra salary. And I put Montgomery a little bit above Cease. But I do think that these two are your clear 1-2. Gonsolin, Ober, and Verlander. Ober's fine, Gonsolin's fine. Gonsolin's going up against the Angels, who don't have Trout. They don't really have anybody at this point. They still have Ohtani, obviously. But after that, it's like, who in that lineup is really going to be scaring you? So there is some interest in there. And then Verlander. Verlander's just... I paused because I don't even know what to say about Verlander. Yeah, the past couple of games have been better. I need to see more. He has just been so disappointing all season long, and now he's going up against the Padres. Padres, they've struggled so far this season. We've seen it, but on paper, I still believe that this offense can generate some stuff. So, Verlander, he's fine, but I would definitely much rather go to guys like Cease and go to guys like Montgomery, who are both cheaper. Darvish, he's a complete fade for me. He's been awful. Absolutely awful the past month or so I don't have any interest in him. Going into the low tier, Savali is going to be my number one. I hate saying it. I don't like Savali. He's got a very low strikeout rate. He's just not a fun DFS pitcher to roster. But, I mean, given the rest of the options that we have down here, and given the matchup that he is in, going up against KC and their dreaded offense, I do think that he's probably going to be my number one pitcher down here. I don't think salary is going to be an issue on this slate. So, I don't even think we need to go down here. But if you did, I do think that Savali is going to be your number one. After him, it's going to be Bradford for Texas. He's min price. The thing with Bradford is, we don't know how deep he's going to go into the game. Is he going to get us 4 innings? I think he's going to get, 4 to 5 innings or so, and he's going to be around 70 pitches or so. If we can guarantee that, awesome. Love it. I put him as my number one, especially if I need some extra salary. But he's going up against Washington. Washington is a lower strikeout team, as we all know. Just pay attention to the rain. I haven't looked actually at the rain threat in Washington. I just see that there's a DK icon there. So pay attention to that. Actually, if you give me 10 seconds, I will look on the iPhone weather app right now, because this is a super accurate thing. Let's see. At first pitch, 30% chance of rain. Should be fine. So actually, Bradford might be moving up there, and I might have some interest in him there. Everybody else is just kind of there. No interest in a lot of these guys, fading all these guys. So let's turn to the bats. Texas is going to be number one. How could they not? I mean, this Texas offense is just absolutely amazing, fantastic. We love this Texas offense. They're going up against Williams, who's arguably one of the worst pitchers in the major leagues right now. He just allows so much hard contact. He allows so many home runs, barrels, the line drives, just everything that kills a pitcher in terms of fantasy and everything. That's Williams. And now he's going up against Texas, who should absolutely smash him. So Texas, they're filled with a bunch of lefties that we love. They're filled with Seager. They're filled with Lowe. But even the righties, you cannot argue against them either. Williams is pretty even splits, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to have interest in pretty much everybody on Texas. It doesn't even matter the platoons at this point. Salary is going to be quite an issue, though. If you're jamming in Seager and you're throwing in Garcia, and we'll throw in Lowe, we'll throw in Duran. Say you go a big 4 stack, you're looking at 2.6K remaining if you do go 2 solid or 2 expensive pitchers. But if you go with Brown and then you go down to a cheaper guy like Montgomery, who also has shown quite a solid floor and is in a nice matchup, you can get a nice Texas stack in there with still 3.K remaining. Maybe go cheap at catcher. There is value out on the slate if you keep on searching for it. Maybe I'll creep up in this video. We'll see. I don't like to give it all away, but I do like to help. So the Texas is going to be number 1. Boston's going to be number 2, actually. I really like Boston's price points as a team going up against Oakland and the Oakland bullpen. Not a single guy above 5K, only 3 guys above 4.1K. I think they're all very affordable. And just like Texas, they got nice lefties matchups that you could be jamming in there. Devers, Yoshida, Verdugo. I mean, yeah, all these guys, fantastic. I just love the salaries when I'm looking at them. So if Texas is kind of becoming the more popular stack, I definitely would understand a pivot towards Boston. If you want to go like a Boston mini stack or even a Boston one-off, I would totally understand if you do want to go that route. Arizona is going to be ranked 3rd for me in terms of bats here tonight, going up against Rich Hill. Corbin Carroll, day to day, he swung in the 7th inning, injured his shoulder last night, so not sure what's going to be going on with that. But their salaries are very affordable. I don't know if they got reduced. I seem to remember Arizona being much more expensive recently. So I don't know what's going on with that. But Walker would be the first guy that would be jamming in with any Arizona stack that I am doing. Or if I'm doing an Arizona one-off, Christian Walker would be the first guy that I'd be putting in there. But Gurriel is going to be solid. Perdomo, if he's hitting up in the lineup, love that. Evan Longoria, he's actually got some solid numbers that you could be turning towards as well. So Arizona, very affordable. You could see like the 4 guys that I probably have the most interest in if Carroll is out. Only 1 guy. Oh, nope, 2 guys. Never mind. Take back what I just said. I thought it was only 1 guy above 4K, but there's 2. But still, I mean, very affordable lineup. You can definitely get in a Brown Abbott stack if you do want to go there in terms of pitchers and in terms of the Arizona bats. So you can see here if I go Abbott, I go Brown, 3.3K remaining for everybody else. You can easily do that if you want. Favorite GPP, it's going to be the Mets going up against, let me see, I think it's Darvish. Yeah, Mets going up against Darvish, going to be my favorite GPP play. Darvish has really struggled. I just talked about that when we went over the pitchers over the past month. It has been a disaster zone. He had 1 good start against the White Sox, or the Cubs. That was pretty much it. Everything else, like he's been getting hit hard. He's allowing a lot of hits, a lot of earned runs. It's just not good. Not what you want to see. Mets, they smashed Arizona last night. I can't remember. What did they even end up with? 13 earned runs? Or not 13 earned runs, 13 runs scored? Let me see. Do they even have the score on here? 9? That was it? I could have sworn they were in double digits. What game am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Baltimore. But still, 9-0 game against Arizona. Their offense is doing very well, though. 8 plus runs in 3 of their past 4. Offense is clicking. They're going up against a pitcher that can be hit. I don't think that they're going to see a lot of ownership just because they're the Mets. They have severely disappointed DFS players all season long. So I don't think there's going to be much ownership on them. So I do think that they're probably going to be my favorite GPP play here moving forward, followed by Baltimore, followed by Cincinnati. I do think Cincinnati's a great leverage spot going up against Corbin Burns. But I mean, their salaries are just out of control at this point. It's really tough to jam them in if you do want to go there. Minnesota, very cheap. Oakland, extremely cheap as well. I think these are 2 great options if you do want to go with some one-offs. Even Washington could have some nice one-offs if you do go there. Going up against Bradford in Texas, they got some cheap lefties if you do want to go that route. So yes, that's kind of where everything shakes out on this slate. I think it's pretty straightforward. I love a lot of pitching options, but Brown Abbott, a clear gap in the high tier. Cease Montgomery, clear gap in the mid tier. I don't really even think you need to go down into this cheap tier if you don't want to go there. So thanks for watching. Really do appreciate all the views. Good luck in your contests tonight, and we will see you in the next one.